What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're going to be taking a look at this guy. This is the Liong Eraser. Full-size knife, Kyle-size knife we got going on here. Very reminiscent to the other Liong that I have as far as its build construction. Of course, it is made by Riot. Riot is hands down the best Chinese manufacturer I have ever had the pleasure of handling. There's a lot of good ones out there. Of course, you know, on this channel, we love to buy American made. And American made is where we want to live. However, there is no denying that Riot, especially in their manufacturing processes, create quality stuff. Almost all of Liong Ma's designs, except for some handfuls back in the earlier days where he basically had mid-techs and customs made by really famous designers. Which, if you haven't checked out, we have an episode of On the Edge with Liong Ma where he talks about that, kind of go over some of his older designs. And this one is actually one of the older designs that he had made custom, but I can't remember which designer we looked at that picture of. Yeah, it's going to elude me, which I might have a horrible memory. But this design is funky compared to the other Liong Ma's designs that I have. But he had all kinds of just interesting designs back in the day that I wasn't even aware of. Of course, you guys know me. I love Liong Ma. I have like 4 Liong Ma knives. Three Liong Ma knives. And I've pre-ordered another one. He just did a pre-order on his Field Duty 3.5 inch. And I'm really excited about it. Now, of course, it's going to be a while before I get it. I've got a bunch of pre-orders, actually, and that's how that's happening. Boy, I gotta wait so long. But I'm really excited about it because the Field Duty, the original Field Duty, is one of my favorite knives of all time. This one, just since we have it up here, as you can see, similar in its build. This one has a full titanium model, and so does this one. But this is the carbon fiber, a shredded carbon fiber, with a titanium bolster, frame lock, bolster lock, as you can see right there. And just like the Field Duty, it's seamless, it's well-rounded, it's just manufactured so damn good. Everything's rounded where it should be, everything's sharp where it should be. Maybe this one area here could be a little bit more rounded off, but it doesn't bother me. We'll go over that in ergos. Just an excellent, and I think gorgeous way to put a knife together. There is his Liong Ma pivot, as you can see there, the shield. There is his logo. And then, of course, the wonderful grind lines that you get from Riot Manufacturing. This one in particular is M390. And look at that pocket clip. That pocket clip is a little bit more 3D milled, mainstream kind of. It's not mainstream. It's definitely designed for the knife. However, it's different than on some of the other Liong Ma's that I have, which has the ceramic ball. And I love the ceramic ball. It's actually really enjoyable, easy to get out and in the pocket, and it has that nice satisfying snap when the ball hits back on the titanium. I really dig that. I was kind of worried about this particular pocket clip because it has one single screw. I don't usually like that, but this pocket clip milled into the carbon fiber, the shape holds it in the spot that it needs to be, and the hardware is very good size, good quality hardware. So the pocket clip surprised me, and it does carry very well, goes in and out of pocket very well. You're going to see about that much knife sticking out of your pocket, and you guys told me I don't care about deep carry. And so this seat's deep carry enough for me, and I think it would for most everybody else, unless you were just one of those psychopaths who just has to have the knife way down in your pocket. Then it's obviously not going to be for you, but neither are most knife designs. So I love the materials and the build quality, going by Riot. I mean, those are things that I come to expect from a Liong Ma knife, and it doesn't disappoint with the eraser. Warncliffe style blade, but a different, it's not like your normal Warnie. Definitely has a weird beak looking shape to it. It's just kind of funky look to me. I mean, a lot of people might not think it's funky looking. To me, it's funky looking, but it's funky looking in a good way. With your hole there, I think I think it's just a attractive blade. I don't know if it's my favorite blade shape, but I think it's an attractive blade. As with all Liong Mall and Riot build designs, the detent is pretty spot on. Most all detents that I get from a Liong Mall knife have been pretty damn close to perfect. One that absolutely is perfect is the Liong Mall Field Duty in this configuration. This one is almost there. Like, so it's a flipper and it's got a hole. And it's very hard to fail. You can fail it. Oh, see, but you really got to try to fail that thing. It fires out of there, makes a good thwack, and it just feels reliable. Now, I am not one that really gets excited about a flipper, okay? I really like to reverse flick my knives. And you'll notice this one does have a hole. It is definitely doable, and I've gotten to where I can flick this thing out, but I will say that it is not near as intuitive as some of the other designs, and it's because this is so close to the scale of the hole, so you don't get a whole lot of room. I've got really fat fingers. I've really had to learn where to put my finger, and once I did, I can reverse flick this thing and actually have a lot of fun with it. It's just not as easy as me picking up the knife and going, oh, and then flicking it out. I might miss it just like I did there. So I've really got to position my hand into a certain spot to be able to get it out. Not a deal breaker because I just love to do the reverse flick, but because you have both, it makes it pretty fidgety. Another thing that I love about the Liong Mall Field Duty, and I know this is not a video about the Field Duty, but this is the knife that I compare other knives to when it comes to detent in action. You have a very nice controlled fall shut action. On the eraser, you do not have that. It falls down to your nail, and then it's just a couple of shakes, and then it falls down. So it's not a fall shutter, as people would say, or guillotine or anything like that. But it's still very satisfying and very, very smooth, running on bearings, of course. Centering lockup on this guy, just like all the other Liong Mall designs that I have held, is absolutely sturdy as all get out. I haven't had any problems with the pivot walking or anything like that. Oh, and I haven't mentioned, this one is one of the knives that was sent in by a viewer, Bad Monkey EDC1. Definitely go check him out. Follow him on Instagram because without people like him, the channel wouldn't be what it is. And he's already sent me a bunch of knives. These knives are going to other YouTubers. And so we want to thank him very much for sending a knife like this. Now, this is not a cheap knife. When you can find them, they're around $440. Compared to the other knives that he has in the lineup, the quality that you get, it's around this, it's around nominal, right? It's about what you pay for a good, high-quality Liong Mall knife produced by Riot. Some people just don't like the price tag. I get it. $440, $450, with that price, you can buy a lot of stuff, right? But do I think it's worth it? I'm always going to say it's worth it with a Liong Mall Riot built design if you like that design. If it captures you and has the features that you really enjoy. So ergonomically on this knife, I was absolutely scared. And one thing that I want on a knife is a forward finger choil. Now, as you can see, this is not a forward finger choil. So I'm really not able to choke up here and just feel totally confident. As you can see, I can, but my hand is right there on the edge. If you've got thinner fingers, you're probably going to be okay. I don't have thin fingers. But ergonomically, I was a little scared about this, and I was like, I don't know. It's just this little hump right here always gets me on certain designs. So if I'm in my regular choked up grip, if this knife was any squished down, this would probably be an issue. But as you can see, where my hand lands, I mean, I am right on the inside of where this point is. And right here feels amazing. In the saber grip, of course, the famous Liong Mall jimping, it's one directional. So it's not grippy at all, except for when you're pushing forward, you've got more grip than when you're going backwards. Commonly known as the razorback jimping. And in this saber grip, it's very, very comfortable. Now you have jimping on the flipper tab, which actually does have grip. And with my fat fingers and me getting into this area in between there, I feel maybe a little bit cramped. And the reason I say that is because sometimes my point finger here on that area, when I grab, I can feel it kind of poking me. And so I feel that a little bit on this. It's not really a hot spot, and I can actually lax that up a little bit. But when I try to, I'm like, okay, I got to get my fingers in there. Sometimes I feel that little bit of an area. And it's not even really the jimping. It is, see if we can show you. So you see, there's the jimping, and then that little point right there is just enough for my fat finger. When I'm grabbing onto it, that's where it's actually poking me, not on the jimping itself. Just right there on that little spot. Now, they've actually done that spot right. You can see that it's chamfered and rounded off right there because they did it correctly. Just my fat finger. That's where it goes, right? So, not a big deal. I do like the fact that the bolster is that long and that you have that much access to that lock bar, because it makes this thing so easy, not cumbersome at all, to get this thing to drop onto your nail. And it drops that low and doesn't actually give you any kind of double clutch. And now you can absolutely probably do that if you go way high. You can get that. But where I naturally go, it drops past that. So, I mean, it will happen if you're high on the lock bar trying to do that number. But just where his scallops are, if you go right there, absolutely wonderful. So ergonomically, it works like, all these other different grips that I never use. I mean, they're comfortable enough. The reverse grip's comfortable enough. I do wish I had a forward finger control, but that's just me. All the other Liong Mall designs that I have a forward finger control, and I just love it because he makes a very generous finger control. Some people don't like that because it takes away from the length of the cutting edge, but I would sacrifice it every day of the week for a finger control just because that's my thing. That's my jam. But yeah, I mean, solid hardware, solid materials, Liong Mall design, and he's just one hell of a great guy. I got to meet him at Blade Show 2021 and talk with him on the edge with Kevin, Chris, on the edge, and it's just he's just a pleasure. He's just a real pleasure to talk to. Very generous guy. He let us borrow some other knives that you've seen on the channel, and I don't know, I resonate with him. So I didn't have any Liong Mall designs until Kevin Lefty EDC got one. He got the Field Duty EDC, which is this guy. And he raved about it. And he was like, yeah. I was like, man, it might be a little too small. I was like, really not on a small knife kick at that time. I've got quite a few smaller knives now that just work really well for big hands. But I saw this guy, and this was my first Liong Mall design knife, and it's absolutely one of the most perfect knives that you can get on the market. And I will fight anybody who says otherwise. I have some knives in my collection that I deem to be damn near perfect, and this is absolutely on the top of the list. And so whenever I bought this and it was so good, I had to go and get other ones. I got the Koof 4.0, as you can see here. Kitchen utility folder. He makes a 2.0 and a 3.0. This was the long one. And then, like I said, I've got the 3.5 on the way. So yes, I am a Liong Mall fanboy. If you're watching this and this sounds like a Liong Mall commercial, which I have had people comment on in the past when I've done other Liong Malls, you're not wrong. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I love Liong Mall, the designer, and I love his knives. And so if you're thinking about getting a Liong Mall, now this one, $440, and I don't know if I saw one actually available. I'm not sure if there are any available. So, if you're looking for one, go to your regular retailers. Mike can contact Liong to see if he knows where any of them are at. Because I guarantee you're not going to have too many knife guys have one of these in the collection. I think that's one of the intriguing factors of this knife, because it's kind of different, right? It's not your regular EDC style leaf-shaped blade, neutral handle, which this is absolutely just simplicity done very, very well and perfect, especially with its detent. This one's a little bit more funky, right? It's a little bit more in your face kind of design, and I think a lot of people like that stuff. And this would be a wonderful addition to anybody's collection who likes that kind of thing. You're not going to go wrong with these wonderful materials and wonderful design and wonderful build quality from Riyadh. I don't know if I mentioned, but it does have a lock bar insert. All of them do. But yeah, this is just kind of a quick overview for this guy. It is relatively thin behind the edge. It's not a full flat grind nearly. I think you've got a little bit of flat at the top. But it's 20 thousandths behind the edge. It cuts really, really well. M390 steel, of course, one of the best all-around steels as of this moment. You know, we got Magna Cut coming around the block and stuff, which is supposedly even better than this. I will eventually get my hands on some of that and try that out, but I'm not a user mainly. And I'm not going to cut with this knife. I did some cutting, obviously, in my day-to-day task while I was doing the review. Some cardboard, slices cardboard, great. And that was about the extent that, and some package opening, because it's not my knife and I don't really want to do more than that. But for most of it, we're going to go ahead, flip the camera around, do some some close-ups of this thing, and then also do some size comparison with these other knives so you can get an idea on how big this thing is, because yes, it is a full-size knife. All right, guys, let's get a close look at this, shall we? There is that really wonderful, I love the design of this pivot that he has now. There is tooling on both sides, so that means obviously not a captive pivot, but, it's very easy, very good, deep hardware to be able to take this off. I believe this is a T8 all around, and so not a problem when doing that. Very nice. See how that countersunk hardware is there. Carbon fiber, the marble carbon fiber that he gets from Riyadh is almost always voidless. I mean, it's almost the nature of the beast that you're going to get some with voids, but I'm telling you, almost every one that I have had, I've not had that as an issue. I love the way he does the back spacers, kind of has that bowl or divot convex, hell, I can't remember. Anyway, full, about 3/4 of the way up on that back spacer. You've got jimping back here, but it actually is not near as aggressive as the jimping like on the field duty. This is actually way more aggressive than it is on this one. A lot of people are going to like that, and you do have a lanyard tube, which I love. If you're going to have a lanyard option on a knife, the lanyard tube is the way to go. It just doesn't break up with a big hole on there. Gotta love that. And let's go ahead and get a good look at these grind lines. Of course, dirty because fingerprints. Look at those grind lines. Oh, really enjoy Riyadh's grind lines. It's like really the best of the best, in my opinion, unless you're getting something custom hand done. As you can see, swedge on the top here. Then you have just that flat area. So it's pretty much a full flat grind. And, in the circle here, it's a pretty big boy. What do we got? We got about 9 inches overall with a 4-inch blade. So yeah, definitely full-size knife, Kyle-size knife. You've got a cutting edge of about 3.625. Pretty much anything you want to do on a day-to-day task, you could do with this blade. Even as far as food prep, long enough to go through an apple, stuff like that. Blade width about 1.13. Blade thickness of about 140 thousandths. Weighs about 4.5 ounces. And 20 thousandths behind the edge, like I said. So definitely full-size knife. That 4.5 ounces I don't think is bad for this size knife in the least. Let's go ahead and put it up against the other big boy. Here it is against the Kuf 4.0. Definitely the Kuf is a lighter knife, but they are roughly around the same size, a little bit wider blade. This one is the kitchen utility folder. Same kind of similar. You got belly and belly. A little bit more of a tip on this guy, but this one is actually a lot lighter because of its monoblock construction that it has for this carbon fiber. Really wonderful design from Liong on that. That's the Kuf. Let's go ahead and put it up against the small boy so you can see kind of the difference. This is the field duty EDC, so pivot to pivot. Definitely a larger knife. This one fits most people's EDC, I would say. And guys, I'm telling you, it's that good of an EDC knife, but definitely more plain Jane. Both of these more plain Jane compared to the Eraser. So I really think that's going to appeal to a lot of people. And then, of course, what it looks like to the creme de la creme, which is the field duty EDC, or the field duty full size. And as you can see, they basically look like brothers because they are, as far as the materials, different pocket clips and whatnot, but that same shredded carbon fiber titanium bead blasted satin blades, just beautiful. But you just get a lot more going on here. Now this is what I like right here. This is my deal. I just love this knife so much. I can't tell you enough how much I like this knife. But the great thing about Liong Mall is, you see Liong Mall's designs, and you can tell that they're his, but not like some other designers. Some other designers, you're like, all their knives look the same. Not with Liong Mall. I mean, it doesn't seem that way to me. He's really just got a great eye for detail, for ergonomics, design-wise. I mean, basically, he's a chef. He's also an artist. He looks at his knives as pieces of art that are functional, and I think that just hits the nail on the head with this guy, the Eraser, and most of his designs. So, anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by and checking this out with me. If you have any questions, hit me up. Go and follow Bad Monkey EDC1 on Instagram. I will have it linked down below for you. You can go to do that. Let him know how much we appreciate him loaning us these knives to check out and share with you guys today. And as always, be safe in this absolutely fucking crazy world that we are living in. And we will see you in the next one.